Good afternoon, everyone. Happy Monday. I hope everyone had a great day, great weekend. This is Nithar Ramachandra from the NR Media and our hour back with another episode. We are close to Christmas Eve and Christmas Day this week, so looking forward to spending time with family and friends. But we are back with another special episode on the show. So before I introduce today's guest, fans, we are live on iHeartRadio, Spotify, on all the podcast platforms. So please tune in. And everybody knows about the Speaker app on my phone where the fans can tune in and ask questions. So if we have time, today's guest will answer some of your questions. And without further ado, I have Domenik Hixon. He's a former NFL wide receiver. He won two Super Bowls with the New York Giants, and everybody knows about those two Super Bowls against the New England Patriots, both of them against the New England Patriots. So we'll get to all of that. And not only he played for the Giants, he went to Akron for his college career, and he was born in West Germany, which was interesting. We'll get to all of that. And, he started his career with the Denver Broncos. Obviously, the second team was the New York Giants, Carolina Panthers, Chicago Bears. What a great career. He helped out the Giants to win two Super Bowls. He was a big part of that. Yeah, Eli Manning played with Eli Manning, a lot of great talent. So we'll get to all of that, his journey, his career. And we actually had his his teammate Corey Webster on the show 2 weeks ago. So we're continuing the Giants trend here when it comes to Super Bowls and talking stories. And Domenik, I just want to say thank you for taking the time before the Christmas holidays. And how are you and your family doing today?
Appreciate it, Nathan. Yeah, we're good, man. We're just enjoying this nice weather here in Florida, and like you said, getting ready for Christmas.
Yeah. So yesterday, when I promoted this interview on the social media, my friend Ed, he's a big Giant fan. He actually met you in person. He posted pictures underneath the on the thing. I don't know if you saw it, but um,
No,
so talk about before we get to your journey and career, just talk about what was it like playing for the Giants fans because the New York Giants fan base is amazing, even though they go through ups and downs and they're going through a lot of downs this year. But just talk about the fan base in general when you were playing with the Giants.
yeah, tremendous, man. I mean, that's what made it fun. Just the commitment and dedication they had to the team, and the expectations that they had. I felt like they helped me raise my game up because I knew they were counting, on me and on the Giants. And so it was just great to see, man. And I don't think I really understood until I got done playing football on how many Giant fans there are throughout the country. I mean, I've been different places, and I mean, you name it, the four corners of the United States, and there are Giant fans everywhere. So, shout out to them. I know we're going through a tough stretch right now, but like I said, they definitely made it fun. Absolutely.
Yeah, so I want to get into your career. Tell our fans you were born in West Germany. So talk about your early life and your journey and how did you get into playing football?
Yeah, so born and raised in Neunkirchen, Germany, and grew up on Kaiserslautern on the military base there, the Army base, and we started at our local youth center playing football. And then when I was about ten years old, I had talked to my parents, and I said, "Hey, I'd like to go, and play, college sports, college basketball at the time was what I wanted to play." And my dad knew that being over in Germany, it was going to be hard to be recruited. So my mom, who's German, it was going to be a big move for her to transition to the United States. And so my dad put in orders with the Army to get stationed somewhere, and it ended up being, Whitehall, Ohio, the east side of Columbus. And so we ended up, moving over my eighth grade year, right before I was, 12 years old. So long journey, good journey. But yeah, my parents, I mean, I expressed to them I had a dream of wanting to play professional sports, wanting to play college sports, and they end up making a move for me.
Well, yes, fans, we are live with two-time Super Bowl champion Domenik Hixon. Please tune in on the Speaker app and on all the podcast platforms and put your questions into the app. We'll answer some of your questions. So talk about your family and obviously we love talking about the families on these shows and
Yeah.
what for your family having your support from day one throughout your career once you started your football journey and then winning two Super Bowls coming and then here now with your family now with your wife and kids and just talk about all your family because it's really important like a sacrifice because you'll be traveling all day throughout your career. So talk about what's it been like for your family to have your support from day one.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what I mean. You hit it right on on the head, just the support. And I always wanted to, for my mom and dad, give them not only material things, but just let them be comfortable in life. They've worked so hard their whole life, and that was my biggest motivation of playing sports is just to be able to kind of give back to them. And it was one of those deals where when I was drafted, it was a long road, but when I was drafted and started to make some good money, being able to, give my mom a car, give my dad a car, give them a nicer house than, probably what they would have had, while they were working. So just be able to do those things, super appreciative, blessed to be able to do so. And like I said, I'll never forget, sacrifices that they made for me growing up. Like I said, to be able to achieve my goals and, always be there for me.
Yeah, you had a great high school career, man. You went to Whitehall Yearling High School. You played track. You did track, baseball, basketball, football. Man, talk about that. And you were also a all-state point guard. So talk about being an all-state point guard. And you did. You actually also cleared 6'5" in the high jump event. So talk about all that, being a multi-sport athlete, which helped you become a good football player too.
Yeah, and that's one thing I try to stress to the kids nowadays is that play as many sports as you can. Each sport help out the next sport, and yeah, it was fun, man. It was really fun. My going into my senior year, I was a zero-star recruit. Had no offers, no nothing, and I only had one official offer uh, at the end of my senior year, and that was the University of Akron in football. And so I thought I was going to be either basketball or baseball bound, but I really didn't want to play football. And so I ended up, committing in December, after Akron offered me. But yeah, still, I ran track, learned how to, get fast and be fast. And track was a lot of fun. I wish I'd have started that earlier, but, you only could play too many, so many sports. So, but it was a good time. And baseball was probably my favorite, probably my best sport, what a lot of my coaches said. And yeah, so. We had a couple guys who were really good at baseball who ended up furthering their career in that. But I was always would have been interested if I'd have went the baseball route.
Yeah, you would. Did you ever think? Because you had some, you had a great basketball career too. All state is a big thing for players. And did you ever think of maybe sticking with two sports at the same time? Like, for example, what Charlie Ward did in his career. He was a point.
Yeah,
He played in NBA and then obviously college football. But did you ever think of having two sports, like sticking with two sports, or was always?
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, I always, thought I was a basketball player anyway. But it was one of those deals. Once I got to college, I just saw how much time it was going to take for football. Um, just for me personally, I mean, I came out of high school. I was probably 6'2", 150 pounds.
Wow.
And so I had to put on weight and do some different things to make sure football was, kind of my priority and where I wanted to be at it. So, and also I played defense my first 2 years
Mm.
in football as a free safety.
Oh
And
wow.
so, with former teammate Chase Blackburn,
Yeah.
me and him were both on defense my sophomore year, his junior year. And I'll mention this too. I had 112 tackles. He had 111.
Uh,
He's still asking for a recount, but yeah, I mean, so it was one of those deals. I probably could have did it, but I just wanted to be committed to football. And like I said, I really enjoyed the game, so I just kind of stuck with that. But we always, shot hoops and stuff with the basketball teams that were there, so it was always a good time.
Hey, we got a player right now in Colorado who's doing both things right now. Travis, yeah, Heisman Trophy winner too, man. This guy's a stud, and I don't know if you've seen his games yet, but what do you think? What are your thoughts about him, real quick, Travis Hunter?
Yeah, I mean, super athlete, man. Athlete. I mean, you could tell he takes pride in what he does on both sides of the field, that he's in shape to be able to do so. I'm curious to see what they're going to do at the next level for him. I mean, do you have him at receiver full time? Do you split
Yeah,
time? I mean, it's one of those deals. I think it'll be a fun time. It'll definitely, he might, be one of those guys that change the NFL perspective, because it used to be, you might play defense or do special teams, but to be able to go both ways in the NFL, that'd be super impressive.
yeah. So we have our first fan question here on my app. They have a two-parter. One of our fans wants to know. He's a big Giant fan, by the way. So they want to know for you, what was it like playing with Eli Manning throughout your career, and he wants to know what was it like winning both Super Bowls against the New England Patriots.
Yeah, so playing with Eli, man, I tell people, um, really competitive, and I mean, just real studious, man. I mean, we went over film and did extra things on the field, and the communication was great between him and all the receivers and the O line. And I mean, he just went about, he went about it the right way, which just a professional guy through and through. And then yet, I mean, the Super Bowls. I mean, especially for me, the first Super Bowl going against the undefeated Patriots. I mean, I'm just waiting for a movie to come out one year, kind of about that because it was the kind of David versus Goliath, and yeah, it just, I mean, a storybook ending. Even us playing them, week 16 on that Thursday night, ended up losing to them then. But I just can remember in the locker room, us all talking, just saying that, how excited we were
Yeah.
to be that close. But then again, if we would see them later on in the Super Bowl, that we'd have a chance to beat them and to go on the road and do all. I mean, just like I said, storybook ending, Disney movie type deal, and like I said, definitely one of the most exciting times in my sports career for sure.
And then our guy David Tyree with the most unbelievable catch ever.
Yeah, I mean, right. And look, and I tell people that practice for David that week was rough.
Yeah.
It was rough, and it's one of those deals. He came, stepped up, made plays, man, and like I said, like we knew he could, and yeah, yeah. I mean, I got he signed a picture for me with that catch
Oh, wow.
that we got hanging down in the office, and like I said, even his whole story, and
Oh, yeah.
we can go, teammate to teammate, but his whole story about the things that he battled and went through, and just how blessed he was to be out there making big plays like that. So yeah.
Yeah, so tell our fans, what was your experience at Akron? Whoever doesn't know about that college, but talk about what was it like playing football there for Akron and the atmosphere at Akron.
Yeah, I enjoyed it, man. That was a place for me. I mean, I remember going on a visit and Marcus Hayes. I met him, Charlie Fry, Chase Blackburn was a huge reason I was up there. And when I went on my recruiting visit, it felt like family. It felt like big brothers, giving you advice and taking you in. So going up there, uh, when I went up there, it's not nearly as nice as it is now. But we had enough. We had each other. And so
Hmm.
we had a field, we had a football. We went out there, and iron sharpens iron. And we had a lot of guys that worked hard and put in work, and a few guys made it to the NFL to the next level. But I just remember when JD Brookhart came in and Coach Moorhead, who's currently there, and they switched me to receiver on kind of like just thinking like what's going on. But they saw something in me to make that switch, which I appreciate. And but it was a good time. It was a really good time. Thankful they inducted me to the Akron Hall of Fame this past season, which was awesome. So I got to go up there, and the kids got to see where Dad went to college at. But it's one of those deals. I see big things coming their way. They're in a transition period with this whole NIL stuff, which is
Yeah.
extremely interesting to me. But yeah, but I mean, great facilities, great field. You got some great coaches up there. So yeah, I'm expecting them for to compete next year for the MAC.
Yes, you brought up a good point. Speaking of the NIL, speak on that real quick. What are your thoughts on the NIL that's going on right now in college sports and all college sports actually? NIL.
Yeah, I mean, it's just interesting to me that there's no cap on it, right? I mean, it's one of those deals where, I feel like, the big money is going to pull players. Um, the commitment to not go to another team isn't there anymore. I mean, I saw just recently where there's a young man who's transferring to a rival team,
Mm,
and I couldn't imagine, me being at Akron and then going to transfer to Kent State, to our big rival, and so it's just interesting on the dynamic of what's going on. But I mean, it is a good thing that the college players are getting paid. Um, I think that's going to end up keeping a lot of college players in college longer. I mean, if you're making, $1 million, $2, $3 million, why not stay in college for 4 or 5 years, get your bachelor's degree, get your master's degree, and because you go to the NFL, you end up taking a pay cut.
yeah.
So, like I said, it's just interesting. It's cool to see. Um, but yeah, and then even in high school now, I know down here in Florida, you got kids in high school doing NIL deals.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it's like I said, it's cool to see, and I wish we had that back in the day.
Hey, that would have been perfect for you guys when you guys were playing the NIL, but now you're seeing the change, which is a positive for most of these players now, when it comes to high school and college. So, we have another fan question for you here. One of our fans
Yeah.
wants to know who uh who was like the funniest teammates that you played with throughout your.
The funniest, oh man, gosh, I think Toomer was hilarious. Sonoris Moss, Victor Cruz, he, he was a jokester. Man, I had a lot of them. D'Angelo Hall,
Mhm.
down in Carolina, he probably was the funniest guy, man. He wouldn't stop. Oh man, he wouldn't stop. He was joking around the whole time.
Uh, uh, Vic, so though speaking of those receive talk about what was it like being with the receiving core, Plaxico Burress start your career, Victor Cruz you just mentioned, David Tyree, Mario Manningham, Hakeem Nicks. So what was it? How special was that group for you guys during that year during the Giants years?
Yeah, I tell people, man, when they ask, oh, well, how many touchdowns did you have or how many receptions? I give them the numbers and they're like, oh, man, I thought it would have been more. And I'm like, man, well, I played with a lot of great receivers, and I don't use that term great lightly. I mean, I did. I mean, if you, like you said, Plexico, Monty Toomer,
Yes.
Steve Smith, I mean, David Tyree, Sonoris Moss, Manningham, Hakeem Nicks. I mean, you keep going on, and I mean, there's a lot of good guys that I played with, and like I said, they all were great. It wasn't no slouches on there. So Ramses Barden, he comes to mind too. Then Jeremy Shockey, Kevin Boss.
Yeah.
I mean Mike Matthews. What I'm saying? I mean, you keep going on and on down the list. I mean, I can name them all, and they all play really well. And the thing is, even though a lot of some of these guys were backups, they could have went on another team and started.
Yeah.
I remember my agent. We're having that conversation of free agency, and he was saying that, hey, we can get you to another team and you could be a starter. And I told him, I said, I agree. I said, but I like winning. I
Hmm.
said, and how they're taking care of business here with the Giants. I said, let's see if we can get something done. Cause yeah, like I said, I learned a lot from those guys.
Well. Yeah, so I want to get to one of the plays that you had in your college career. It was during the MAC championship game where Luke
Yeah.
Getzey found you with one of these plays, and you guys became like the fourth quarter, earning its first MAC championship in school history. So take us back to that moment, and you were already winning in college. You won the championship in college before winning two Super Bowls. So basically, you're a three-time championship here, champion. So talk about what was it like winning the first MAC championship in school history.
Yeah, it was oh man, it was a good time. The What people didn't see was how hard we worked to get there, but also that that wasn't the most talented team we had. I think that was the most committed team we had. Everyone had a role and accepted that role to be able to, to win the MAC championship. And that fourth quarter, I remember I was catching cramps in that fourth quarter, so I didn't play at all in that fourth quarter. And a young man by the name of Johnny Long had stepped in for me. It was a young guy at the time, freshman or sophomore at the time, and made some plays to be able to get us down, that close to the end zone. And so I remember sitting there laying on the ground. I was cramping up, and I was like, Lord, just give me one play. Just give me a chance. Just give me one play, and you take this pain away, and I'm gonna go out there and make a play for you. You know what I'm saying, and give you all the glory. And for whatever reason, there, we called a timeout. I think it was 17 seconds left, and I remember all the pain just went away for me.
Hmm.
And so, I get up and, Coach Brookhart was like, are you good? And I said, yeah, I'm good. I'm good. So, we run in, we call the double post. And, Luke Getzey ends up putting it on the money, who's also the offense coordinator for the Raiders right now,
Yeah.
which is pretty cool. So, shout out to Luke. But yeah, so he ends up, putting it on the money, score a touchdown. I remember Aaron Andrews came and interviewed me after the game. And I said, man, I just thank God and, give him all the glory because I was hurting. I was hurting bad. We that week before we played on Thanksgiving. and it was 0 degrees. It was snowing the whole 9 yards. So I didn't even hydrate, playing in the dome up in Detroit. So, like I said, God took that pain away, allowed me to make that catch. And like I said, thank him for doing it. That I feel like that changed a lot, for my career as well. So, yeah, thank God.
Shout out to Erin Andrews, by the way. She's one of the best in the business when it comes to covering
Yeah.
football. We're obviously working for Fox with Tom Brady, Kevin Burkhardt. Man, she does a great job. Shout out to her. Um, yeah. So talk about your draft experience. You got drafted by the Denver Broncos in round four, 2006, pick 130. So talk about what was it like waiting with your family and friends, and once you got the area code from Denver, what was it like for you?
Yeah. So I ran 4.340 at my pro day, and I ended up breaking my foot. So I was in a boot the whole time going on these interviews, these draft visits, and the day before the draft was actually the first day I had my boot off. I had a Jones fracture,
Oh,
and so I didn't know if I was going to get drafted or not. Before I broke my foot, I talked to a few scouts, and it was almost I felt like a guaranteed thing. And then after breaking my foot, things kind of went silent. So it was a complete surprise to me. I hadn't talked to Denver, the Broncos or anybody, the whole time. So when I saw that area code pop up, and Coach Shanahan on the other line and saying, you want to be a Denver Bronco, of course, yes. And it was a dream come true. But little did I know it was a still long road, long road ahead for me to go through rehab and to be able to get on the field. But yeah, what a blessing! I mean, for them to take a chance on a young man from the University of Akron with a broke foot who didn't play his first year. I mean, like I said, what an absolute blessing.
yeah. What did you learn through that process when you were going through that injury and obviously rehabbing and trying to come back strong? And so what did you learn throughout that process?
Yeah, I mean, I learned that football is a strictly business. Because I ended up, going through rehab, and I thought I was ready for training camp and ready to get playing, and they ended up putting me on a non-football injury reserve,
Hmm.
which I didn't like, and because again, here I am trying to kind of fulfill my dream of playing in the NFL, and here goes another roadblock. So I ended up not playing my first year, and like I said, I was disappointed to say the least. But like I said, I found out what a business football is, and a year and 4 games later, they end up cutting me. So you know, business football wasn't first. Business was before football.
Yeah. We have another fan question for you here. One of our fans wants to know what was it like playing underneath Coach Tom Coughlin?
No, it was great. I mean, coming from a military father and being on a military base and doing all that. I mean, he expected you to work when you were at work, which I think is not unreasonable. He reminded me of like a grandfatherly figure, always words of wisdom. We were always, I thought, very well prepared. I mean, for the Saturday night meetings, I mean, he would go through everything that you could think of. What the refs would like to call, like that crew. Like we'd have, certain refs that hey, they really like to call pass interference. That's their most frequent call, or offsides or whatever it is. I mean, he'd go through the weather changes throughout the game. The kind of hourly weather report and what to expect. I mean, we were always well prepared. I mean, I feel like he left no stone unturned, and and he always had us prepared and ready to work.
Yeah, so speaking of your first year going into Denver, you got to learn. By the way, you guys had a great roster there. Champ Bailey, John Lynch,
Yeah.
who's now the GM for the 49ers, Rod Smith, another great wide receiver. Actually, Rod Smith was on the show actually a couple of I think 3, 4 years ago. We had Rod Smith
Okay.
on the show. Um, so for you coming in as a rookie and not playing your first year, what was it like learning from those players and especially learning from a receiver like Rod Smith?
Yeah, and he was real forthcoming. I mean, he was willing to share advice on and off the field about just life and different things to expect, business ideas and investment ideas, just stuff that I appreciate and I took with me and still hold true to this day. So I remember him and Javon Walker. They were our two eldest. at the receiving core. So yeah, I mean, he was willing to share information, and I took it all in. I mean, it was such a great guy too. I tell you, me and Brian Clark, who was my roommate at the time in Denver, we didn't have a car, right? And so Rod Smith, he heard us talking, and that we were walking everywhere, and Rod looked over to us. He said, "Man, hey, I got an extra car for you." We kind of looked at him and was like, what? He was like, yeah. So he ended up letting us drive his Mercedes around,
Oh wow.
his backup car. He was like, hey, whenever you guys get your car or whatnot, you go ahead and give it back, just take care of it. And yeah, I mean, so like I said, he didn't have to do that, man. And I was very fortunate, like I said, throughout my whole career to have guys like that who, just willing to help you out and, willing to be more than a teammate, more like a big brother.
Wow. That's amazing. That's a great story right there. Letting you guys drive the Mercedes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so we have another fan question here. One of our fans wants to know what was your go-to snack and drink?
Snack and drink.
Yeah.
Let me see. I think snack would be donuts.
Hmm.
Any type of like Krispy Kreme donuts was my preferred snack. And drink. See, during the season, I didn't drink any soda,
Hmm.
but man, the off season Mountain Dew. I mean, it was yeah. I had a Mountain Dew issue. I feel like every time I wanted to get a drink, it'd be Mountain Dew. Kind of treat yourself in the off season. But yeah, so yeah, Krispy Kreme donuts and Mountain Dew. Those were my two go-tos.
Yeah, so tell some of your fans, and our fans about your best moments with the Giants. Obviously, winning two Super Bowls, but once you got to the Giants, you already made your mark. You had a couple. You had a return against the Minnesota Vikings. You had a 74-yard return against the Patriots, and then you got a go-ahead touchdown against the Patriots early in your career. But just talk about some of the best moments before winning those two Super Bowls with the Giants, because you were known for that return game with the Giants also.
Yeah, I mean, so when I was in Denver and I just had got fired. So and let me back it up even before then. My first NFL game, I end up in the second half, I ran into Kevin Everett. And Kevin Everett, he was a young man when we collided. He was a young man that started off, being paralyzed and had to be carted off the field. And
Wow.
so when that happened, obviously, I mean, I was devastated. And so 4 games later, they end up firing me, which, and again, I like to be upset at it, but I can understand because I just wasn't the same player that I was after that collision. So coming to New York, I remember meeting Michael Strahan,
Hmm.
NFL Hall of Famer legend. I remember meeting him,
Yeah.
and he told me, he said, "Man, I don't know why they got rid of you, but I'm glad we got you here." Right. And I remember just, again, there's that vote of confidence of someone appreciating you that you being here because I was ready to quit football
Oh.
after I had got fired. And
Huh.
I remember my dad, telling me, hey, Dominic, you're giving up on what God has planned for you. And he said if you decide that you want to quit, that's fine, but just understand that, you're quitting on what God has planned for you. And I remember telling him and my mom, I said, you know what, I'm gonna wait to the end of the year, and I'm gonna, just ride it out, and we'll see what happens. I'll make that decision at the end of the year. And so that's when the Giants end up picking me up. But fast forward, I come in. It was week 5 against the Jets.
Hmm.
Then I end up going down and making a tackle on special teams on punt coverage, and first guy coming out, Michael Strahan's pumped up. He's pointing at me. That's why we brought you in here, and I just remember being like, man, like again, like felt like an Akron. I was like, this is home, man. This is home. So I wanted to play well. Thomas McGahee, who was the special teams assistant coach at the time in New York, he was a reason I'm in New York. He came and he was with me in Denver. He came to New York and he told Dave Gettleman, he said, "Man, hey, we need to bring this guy in." So it was just everything just kind of working itself out, and I wanted to play well for T Mac, because he, I say he put his career on the line, but he was willing to vouch for me, having seen me in Denver that I was going to do what they needed me to do. So just little stories like that that just make me smile, man. And like I said, guys playing, so yeah.
those are the type of stories that we love on the show when when we hear in-depth stories um and the Giants, man, they're like family to players, and
Yeah.
they do a great job of treating you guys well, and like you said, you felt like at home, and they treated you well, and your family well too, which is a big thing in this industry. So we'll take one more fan question here. So they want to know, what was it like winning those two championships for the city of New York, and because
Oh man.
in New York, there's a lot of expectations for all teams winning championships. So for you, what was it like to have that in your career, and then being able to win it for the city of New York?
Yeah, I mean, it's surreal, man. I mean, I feel like, New York, you got a lot of, and New Jersey, you have a lot of blue collar, hardworking people that, again, they come and they support you. They're Giants fans, and so you want to win it as much for them as you do for yourself and the organization. And how happy and joyful, and you see people crying at the parade, and it's one of those deals. It's just surreal. It still feels unreal looking back at the pictures, looking back at the video, and
Mhm.
even the DVDs and the stuff on YouTube, and just, I mean, how unreal it was, and how much fun it was to go down to Tiffany's, downtown Manhattan at the ring ceremony, and even the reunions coming
Yeah.
back, and
Mhm.
and like I said, seeing different fans just across the country, different Giant fans that they knew where they were on that day we beat the New England Patriots that were undefeated, and even the second go around in Indianapolis, they know where they were sitting at, who was round. I mean, just to hear those stories from the fans, it makes it all worth it.
Yeah.
It puts a smile on my face, and and like I said, hopefully we can get back there again soon. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I didn't realize until I got done like how many fans there are for the New York Giants, and like I said, uh it's tremendous, man. Tremendous opportunity. And like I said, it's great talking to all the fans out there too. Like I say, they definitely made it worth it, man. Made it fun.
How often do you come back for the to the stadium?
Yeah, we try to come back at least once a year.
Okay.
And again, the Giants, the classy organization they are, they make it well worth our while to come back. And so, yeah, any opportunity we have, or even away games, when they play the Saints,
Yeah.
to go down there, or the Buccaneers. But yeah, so yeah, we try to come back at least once a year. I mean, the kids love it. Like I said, they you know, treat us like we're still playing.
Yeah.
We get some great seats, a lot of food,
Nice.
drinks, and like I said, the kids and my wife, they absolutely love it. Yeah.
So before we let you go, would you like to give any shout outs on the show to your friends and family?
Yeah, I mean, shout out to my wife, Root. Man, she's been I could spend days talking about how supportive she's been after my career, and just trying to figure out life. And yeah, our three kids, Lorenzo, Samira, Aria. Shout out all my teammates, man. Shout out to wide receiver core, Plexico. Like I said, Sonoris, Steve, Toomer, Big Brother Toom, man, held it down. Manningham, Victor Cruz. I see he's doing a lot of golfing.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
a lot of golfing.
actually, yeah, I actually picked up my game too. I may have to challenge him
All right,
to a
let's do
round or
it.
two. Yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and get that set up. Hakeem Nicks, like I said, all the receivers, man. Eli, Giants organization, Giants fans. Shout out to Costa. So I'm not trying to be cool, but it's just so bright out here in Florida. I mean, it's really hot. So I was squinting earlier. I said I need to get my Costa sunglasses. Shimano Albemarle boats. Superbowl fishing team. We got our logo right
Oh,
here.
nice. Yep.
Uh, yeah, we caught a 148-pound tuna this year that won a tournament for us.
Oh,
So that was cool.
congrats.
Uh, but yeah, man, and thank you. Like I said, appreciate you having me on, man. And like I said, I enjoy taking the time back, and just going down memory lane. So it's always fun.
Hey, thank you for joining, man. This was awesome, and thank you to our fans for tuning in, asking great questions also. And Domenik Hixon, man, congrats on that fishing championship. Keep up the great work. We'll definitely stay connected also. And when you come to Jersey, let me know. We can meet up, hang out. and then I can get the crew, I can get the gang back together with David, Tyree, and all, and we all can hang out when you guys come back. So, but keep up the great work. My family, my parents live in Florida also now, so I can come visit
Right
you
on.
guys too. Yeah. So, but
Yeah,
keep up
come
the great
on.
work and thank you again.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. And last but not least, too, anybody doing jujitsu out